So I couldn't quite see it, but Justin Brayton said that your hole shot device came up off the gate. Is that what happened, or would you spin, or what?
I hope there was something that went wrong because I had a really good jump and then something went really, really bad, and I managed to have that first turn actually work out pretty good in my favor. Obviously, I was fourth coming into that right-hander, the second turn, and I kind of got put up in the tough blocks, so I lost a couple of positions there. But yeah, just needed a little bit more in that opening lap, and night could have been different.
Yeah, I think maybe both of the fake starts or something during the day, you kind of did the same exact move. You didn't get like quite the jump, but you tucked in behind. Like, did you realize after you got a bad start in the main event, like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to funnel in behind these guys?
Yeah, and I struggled with it all day. Like, my jumps were decent, and then I just didn't have the drive going on the start straight. So that was literally the first thing I said when I came out of the start came off the main event. Is like, look, it's not going to be fixed completely. Like, we're at elevation, but we can definitely be better next weekend, and I can get a better start. So that's what it's going to come down to. Like, I need to start in front of Levi. If I can start in front of him, I can win the championship. Even if we start together, like, it's going to be all out. It's cool for the fans, cool for the sport. I wish I have a bigger gap, but man, hopefully I can deliver for these guys under pressure.
Yeah. Were you surprised about Thrasher?
Yeah, a bit, but hey, what are we going to do? So, we're good.
You saw Joe in front of you, and the gap sort of opened up a little bit. Were you just trying to meter him, take a deep breath, and make another run, or was it you just kind of managing yourself? What was it?
Yeah, honestly, I just tried to kind of manage it. There was actually a point, like halfway, where I was like, all right, I'm going to see if I can close in, and I did, and then I messed up a rhythm really bad and lost it all back. So when something like that happens, you're kind of like, all right, maybe I play it smart and just don't override trying to catch him again. And then RJ started getting closer, so then it pushed me back to Joe. So, yeah, I don't know. It was pretty good.
Like, so when did you notice RJ was closing in? Like, what position on the track were you metering him, and when? Did
I would just look at him every time after the mechanics area. I'd go right, coming back across. I'd just look.
And so you noticed he wasn't suddenly in your view, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, there was one lap, like, I ripped the turn, and I would be able to see him every lap, and I didn't see him, and I'm like, okay, that means he's that close. And I was like, I gotta go.
You're pretty crafty, so you would have figured it out anyway, but did having to come from the back in the heat race make you learn some things about lines and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy you say that. You're finding inches at that point because the track is ultimately pretty basic. So just trying to open up the track, not going so far out in certain corners. Some corners you had to go open it up for elevation to carry more momentum, but I needed to have that bad start because it helped me blow out the cobwebs and turn my brain off to actually like get in a rhythm. So, which was kind of nice. But P6 for after you guys came and talked to me and stuff, it was not looking good. I told the boys to pack up after the second quali. I said, it's time to go home, you know? It's a waste of their fucking time to be here.
Did you actually feel that you rode better in the night, though? Like, just aside from not being able to do triples and stuff or whatever, you rode better?
Unfortunately, I always ride better in the night. It's like I need a gate drop in order to go. I really struggle with the one lap stuff. I don't know why. I can't do it. I can't do it. So it's kind of, to qualify 15th every fucking weekend and then you get a 6th or an 8th on the night or whatever, it's just like, it just goes to show when the gate drops, the bullshit stops. So I enjoy gate drops. That's where I thrive at. So because you can't bullshit in the first corner, you got to find some holes, and I don't know, racecraft over the years I guess helps.
The track seemed kind of one line in that, like, if you defended the inside in the 90s, it was pretty tough to pass. Was there any spot that you thought you could get Phil, though?
Yeah, so he was in the back rhythm after the triple. He was going out, step on, step off. I was sticking to, it was a beginner line or a basic line. I was going roll, table, double, double. And if I could have just gotten a bit closer on the triple, he was leaving that door open. And that was kind of my window. And I was just never clean enough for the sections prior. So, yeah, like I say, at the end, I was pumped for my riding. But, this has been a long time coming. Everyone that lines up expects good results. But for myself, I'm one of the older guys in the class. I need to have it dialed in from round one, not, we're around 16 now. So, yeah, it took a little longer this year.
You've had quite a few good rides this year, though. Is this the one, though, that you left feeling the most satisfied with your actual riding?
I think, yeah, if you go back, when you're feeling good on the bike, I think it starts from practice one. And, I got out early with the practice one and rode really good laps. We were joking. I had my picture on that little board that they show everyone. And I mean, it's for a lap maybe, but hey, like it's showing that I'm making the steps that I need to, and that's getting laps in early and racing with those guys and having that speed. So yeah, as an older guy, I'm still learning, right? You know, learning how to adjust my bike, gearing, that stuff. Helped having media yesterday, doing the press day, having a little bit of time on the bike. We did some changes. Today the bike was sick, team was sick, everything was good.
Really good night for the team. Let's talk about that first of all. You guys go 7-8. When you come back to the truck, is it just all high fives and everyone's in a good mood?
Yeah, I mean, I would say from the second we came off the track, the whole crew was down there on the track, and special moment for us. You know, this is my 4th year, I believe, with the team. Or, you know, obviously I was on a different team last year, but this is the best finish with 2 guys overall with the team. So it was pretty awesome. We went 7-8. Unfortunately, Cole beat me, but no, it was awesome. Not even all day. Like first qualifying session, we were 8th and 9th. So we never seemed to get away from each other really. But yeah, man, it was just a great day, great night for me as well. So I'm taking all the positives from it.
When I first kind of noticed you was like halfway, and it seemed like you're already kind of by yourself in 8th. Did it feel lonely, like you couldn't really gain on anybody, but you weren't losing time either?
Yeah, I just felt like I was in my own little groove there. After about the 3rd lap, I figured out a couple of the rhythms that I wasn't doing previously. I got those down about 3rd, 4th lap in the main, and then once I got those down, it made the race much better. And I was just trying to click off my laps and keep the same pace and trying to pace Cole, and I think Phil was in front of him, so I was trying to pace those guys.
I know we talked yesterday that these conditions tend to suit you quite well, so right from the beginning of free practice today, did you feel like, all right, this is a good day for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually really enjoyed the track here. It's a bit tight, and then yeah, like hard packed like it is in California. So yeah, these conditions tend to suit me pretty well, so I felt really comfortable all day on my bike.
Let's talk about the heat race first, because the heat race was sick. Like you got up there, you were in 2nd for a little while. Like I was like, okay, this is the T-Hawk we know, right?
Yeah, no, I was stoked on that. I came away with 2 really good starts, and I'm stoked. Obviously, the main didn't go as I planned, but heat race was sick. That was my best heat race finish, I want to say, ever. So that was cool. It was pretty cool running up front. Like, it's a gnarly pace up there, and I'm glad I was able to run it for the time that I did.
With the starts, was there anything specifically that you worked on before this round that clicked this round specifically just better? Or?
No, honestly, I was kind of scared coming in because of the elevation. I was wondering, I was like, do I do 1st gear? Do I do 2nd gear? I didn't really know what I was going to do. So in the practice starts, and earlier in qualifying, I did them good, so I just stuck with what I did.
In the main event, like you said, you dropped anchor, but can we say that like elevation played a factor? Like, did you feel like you were heaving a little bit halfway through or something?
I don't want to blame it on the elevation, but I was definitely huffing and puffing. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I think those first few laps when I was like up front, I think I wasn't thinking about breathing as much as I should have, and it hurt me. But we're learning always, every weekend learning.
Because it looked like early in the race you wanted to go with those guys. Like you didn't want to let the lead group get away and you wanted to stay up there. So maybe that was, if you could have laid back a little bit, maybe it would have lasted longer.
A little bit of a rookie move for sure. Obviously, this is my 2nd year, but we still make mistakes like that.
I think otherwise from the crash in the main event, the riding looked reasonably okay if you just could stay on 2 wheels, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think tonight was my best riding of the season, and it showed during this week in training. I rode really good all week at the practice track. And I felt really good coming into this weekend, but sometimes it's out of your control, and that's how it went tonight. I was in a good spot and got landed on in the beginning, and that was all she wrote. Started from way back and had to fight forward.
So you got landed on, like, do you know who or what happened in that situation?
Yeah, it was Hawkins. I'm not sure what exactly happened. I think he cross-rutted and he was on the right side and came left and just clipped my bar.
Yeah.
And my hand came off. And
what did you think about racing at elevation and trying to deal with the lack of power today?
Struggled this morning. First session, I was lost. I didn't think it was going to affect the bike as much as it did. And I did, like, the first jump I hit, I was like, yikes, this is going to be tough. So it took a minute to get used to, but once I got going, it felt pretty normal.
A lot of happy guys in this scrum tonight. You guys are all pretty satisfied with your ride, but just take me through your night.
So, I mean, we've really been working on my starts, my mental strength, and just believing that I could be here. And so I just, qualifying went actually really well. I got faster through the day, and then finally got a good start in the heat race. Made it through, didn't have to go to the LCQ, so I'm stoked on that. Didn't have the best gate pick. I think I was like 14th or 15th in the main. and I kind of got an okay start, and then there's a pileup that I just cut through and made it work. And then I rode my hardest. I think I was in 10th for the last 2 laps, and I was just fighting for my life, but I'll take P12. I'm pumped.
How did your fitness feel with the altitude?
So I was born at altitude in Lake Tahoe, so it didn't really affect me.
Yeah.
But I definitely rode tight, so that affected me.
Are you like used to it then? I mean, like Lake Tahoe doesn't have tracks necessarily at elevation, but are you used to feeling down on power a little bit?
Yes. Back home, like we have a little supercross track. One of my friends, Sam Marson, I rode his. I think our elevation's like 4,700, so it's not as high. Yeah. But I think just being born at altitude, my blood's a little thicker, so yeah, it didn't really affect me.
Let's talk about your starts today, because I think that the starts. I didn't see the main event, but the starts early on, the heat race is good. The 2 practice starts are pretty good. Yeah. Did you feel a little bit more like, okay, yeah, here we go again?
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I haven't practiced any. I did 4 starts the other day, and like just normal. Didn't change anything. So I don't really know. I went through like a little slump, I guess. I felt like my reaction time was actually really good for the past couple weeks, but just the end result was not that great. So, I couldn't really tell you why, what, or how it changed, but I was I felt comfortable this whole time. I felt confident, on the starts. You know, some would say that's my strong point. And like I said, nothing's changed. So. Today, I was back to normal up front, more up front at least. Ran it a little deep in the heat race. Me and Levi, I think we were having a little a BDO, as we like to call it. So if you know what that means, you know. Yeah. But we ended up way outside in the blocks, but it was a good jump. I mean, it's always nice when you're able to run with a guy on a pro circuit bike and start in front of other factory bikes, so that was definitely the highlight of the day, I would say. Yeah,
obviously for you, still battling through injury. Is it like any % better, or is it just at this point it is what it is and you're dealing with it every week?
It's definitely worse.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, yeah. I thought that I was kind of in the clear. It's not. So it's very weird situation with what I've got going on with my knee. And I couldn't tell you exactly, the chiropractor explained to me, but it's not really it's very scientific, but it's very weird. I get these pops in my knee, and it could be at very random times. I dabbed my leg a couple weeks ago and it popped. And then something as simple as today, I was jumping the whoops and I did nothing wrong. I did it for 5 laps before that. I did it the rest of the main out there, all the same way, but it just popped again. And unfortunately, now it's going down my calf, and like I said, I wish I could tell you more, but I really don't know. Okay. It's just unfortunate situation. I felt like I was really made it to the next level this year, and I felt after the little break we had, I felt really confident coming back in. Coming into Seattle, I was ready to go, and that's where it happened. And unfortunately, it just been kind of plateaued, I guess, and downward plateau. Yeah. So it is what it is. Just kind of take me through your day and how you felt about the track, yourself, and everything throughout the day.
Yeah, so the day started off pretty good. Free practice, I think I was P13, and then I was actually I was telling the team, with the elevation and stuff, especially being on a privateer bike, you're pretty underpowered, right? But for free practice, my bike was really good, but I think it's just the colder air in the morning. It had a lot more throttle response, and then we struggled with some mapping stuff as it got hotter, but then the heat race, my bike was really good. So, bike-wise, elevation-wise, it was good. Elevation body-wise was completely fine. I was more out of breath when I would pull off the track versus actually riding. But made it right in through the heat, P8, and then I honestly felt like I rode pretty good in the main. But to get 17th, it's come on, I really want a top 15. I truly believe I'm a 12 to 15 guy, and it just seems like in these mains, either a first turn crash or getting bottled up in the second corner, But yeah, overall, Denver experience was good, and yeah, did the pulp race yesterday. So yeah, it was a good weekend.
Overall, with the elevation, seemed like some of those triples in the long rhythm lane were really tough to get unless you were perfect. Is that kind of how it felt every single lap?
Yeah, I didn't do a single triple in the rhythm lane all day. The only one I did was after the supercross triple at the end zone on-off 3 into the corner, but I was struggling to even go roll onto the table off. Like, there's no way I was doing the next triple. I thought about it a few times, but when you kind of land and you're bogging, like kind of like you would be like low RPM, like whoa, it's just you have no confidence in doing a triple. Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of out of the equation for me.
Going back to the heat race, it was chaotic, man. You guys were all battling for ninth, trying to battle each other, and then Dylan's coming up from behind with Oldenburg, and then you're like trying to balance, okay, I got to get a couple guys past and get a buffer, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, being in that spot, it's always intense, and everyone else is intense as well. And yeah, I had a great start in the heat actually, but the first 2 corners I got shuffled back. I made some, I got squished a little bit, maybe made some poor line choices right off the beginning. So I made some good passes in the heat to put me in that 9th spot, which got me to the main event. But yeah, I mean, I knew Oldenburg had gone down or something, or was behind me, and then obviously Dylan as well, so I knew that, you know, you had to go. So it's always intense, but yeah, you know, getting the spot was good. So
what did you think of the track today? It kind of turned one line in the main event, but it had options throughout the day. It just got one line by the main, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely hard to pass. Actually, in the main event, I got stuck behind a rider for way longer than I should have, and kind of threw off my mojo, and I got past because of it. But yeah, I mean, I liked the track, maybe because I did well tonight. I think it got better and better throughout the day. I didn't like it in the beginning of the day, and that kind of that sand and stuff that was put in, though I understand why. It obviously needs to be done to keep the moisture down. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. But I mean, I just love to ride my dirt bike, I guess. So no, it was a good time, and then obviously, you know, having a good result helps. But yeah, that's a little tricky to make passes. But
let's not start with where you want to start at, and instead talk about the fact that you made it through a heat race, right?
I did.
So we're good, right?
Yeah, my starts were pretty awful today. I was pumped in practice, like I felt like I was leaving the gate good, and was all happy. And my heat race start, I think. If you gave a turtle like a delayed reaction, that's what I look like leaving the gate. And it makes me feel better because Marshall Walton started next to me, and I thought he was on a 250F, and he absolutely yarded me out of the gate, and I was like crying going down the start straight, embarrassed. And then I found out he was on a 450. It made me feel a little bit better. But I rode really good in the heat, picked my way through some good privateer dudes. Me, Mitchell, and Freddie just kind of survived our way. Luckily, Marshall was back there to hold off Mitchell, Oldenburg, as long as he did, because they definitely would have gotten to us. But yeah, then the main, I started actually pretty good, and then somewhere I got shuffled like way back. So went back to like 18th or something. Was battling with AC for the first like 5 laps. I actually passed him, and I don't think he liked that because I've never heard him rev his bike so loud off of the jumps. And he ended up getting me right back. I followed him for a little while, followed him up the hill, past hill, and then I was trying to pass somebody else, and I actually got hit in an area that you don't want to get hit with or hit in with a rock. Started gagging. Hill passed me back. Then Jeremy Hand passed me. Mitchell was trying to pass me, and finally, like, I caught my breath. And I was like, all right, I can do this. Passed Hand back, got back to Hill, and just couldn't get by him. And I just kept missing up that long rhythm, man. Like, I was air wheeling it, cross rutting, endoing every lap. Like, it was, if you could have had a Matt Burkeen video of me just in that rhythm section. But yeah, and then I kind of just struggled my way around and got 19th, I think. So it is what it is, right? I think I could have beaten. I definitely should have beaten Hill, who I was battling with. I should have beaten Shane, who I think ended up 18th because he jumped off the track last lap. And if I don't suck for so long, I probably beat Vince too. So that's like 16th. Yeah. And that puts me right behind Freddie, who I battle with all the time anyway. So I'm battling for 15th. So it's fine. Excellent. Everything's fine. I made it through 20 minutes. I only almost crashed I say I almost crashed a minimum of 20 times.
Okay.
Like, it was bad.
Okay.
It was so slippery. I was losing the front end. I'd hit the rear brake, and the back end would step out. I was beyond a hazard out there.
One thing those Jerkies noticed in the press box, though, is it did take the leaders a long time to lap you guys. So, like, not in terms of they got to you and then it took a while to get by, but to actually get to you guys in the first place. Did it feel like the pace and intensity was, like, high, and you're like,
the
man?
pace was high.
Yeah, okay.
We freight trained a bunch of dudes freight training.
Good one.
Through the beginning of the main. I mean, I'm sure like 10th to 20th was within a section for the first half of the race.
Yeah.
Like, I was coming out of the turn after the whoops, and there was 6 or 7 guys between me and the next turn for a while. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, I think we all just kind of towed each other around. And to be honest, I think Freddie held a lot of good dudes up for a while, and nobody could get by. So, like, we were all just like, the track sucked. Like, this track was awful. And, like, you couldn't pass anywhere. Like, the lines we ran in practice, we didn't run in the night show because you would just leave the door open and kill somebody.
Yeah.
So that sucked. I blame the SMX track crew. If we can bring back Dirtworks at some point, that'd be cool. But, yeah. It's an inside joke. I'm sorry.